It's been a while since we uploaded. Things in the shop is crazy. A lot of bills, a lot of projects, a lot of inquiries, and so forth. I think I need some sort of administrative person to manage all of the inquiries that is coming through. But Alhamdulillah, we appreciative of the support from you guys out there. And if you guys are new to the channel, please consider subscribing. It's content like this here, and it's your subscriptions that make it possible for us to actually motivate us to put out a video out there. Today we're busy with the E46 M3 and we're doing the bearings on it. We ran into a bit of an issue, so this is kind of like take two. So I have like one video of it, but that footage is actually useless. We ran into a bit of an issue, and the issue was that the car came with aftermarket bearings, so it made it very difficult for me to actually determine whether the car had a standard crank or not. But eventually I did figure out how to measure the crank, whether it was standard. The crank measured at, I think, was 89 millimeters or something like that there. So yeah, it's within the spec of a standard crank. But nonetheless, the other aspect of it was that the bearings had no marking, so it made things a little bit difficult. But with a little bit of investigation and so forth, we managed to come right. So without further ado, let's get to doing the bearings on this E46 M3. So when doing a bearing application on a BMW E46 or any BMW in that particular instance, preparation is key. Take your time and be methodical in your approach. Now, the way I like to do it is a little bit more different, but it's almost like a show and tell exercise. So let's get to the preparation. I've already dropped the sump. I've already taken out cylinder number 1 and number 6 because they were at the bottom. So you can do 2 bearings at any given time because 2 of them will be at the bottom. And let me show you guys. So this is cylinder number 1. Turn the camera. So this is cylinder number 1. This is cylinder number 6. I like to put it on a chart so I know what my uppers and my lowers are. So this is the lower. So at the lower end, you can see this was the bearing here. Okay. And we're going to be replacing it with the red shell. So the red shell goes at the bottom. How you identify it's the red shell is, apart from me telling you on the box itself, if you look closely, let me get you into the light. If you look closely, you can see that red mark. That red mark indicates it's a red shell. The uppers use a blue shell. Now what I like to do is I like to keep it in the packet. I take it out of the packet once. I wash them up. I clean them up. So if there's any oil or residual stickiness on there and fingerprints whatsoever, I put them back into the packet after it's washed. Keep them tightly closed. Put them back into the packet itself. I'll then start with my lowers because that's the easiest to start with. I'm going to do it with one hand. Obviously, we're not going to do the entire car with one hand. Take some good carb cleaner. I love to use my carb cleaner. Just give it a good squirt just to clean it up. And this is the crucial part. So what you want to do is you want to use a lint-free type of cloth. So a microfiber cloth wouldn't work or something like that there. You don't want to leave any strains or grains of the microfiber cloth or lint on the bearings or even on the crank itself. So you're going to clean the bearing shell up. After you've cleaned the bearing shell up, you're going to clean it on the crank, which I'll show you guys as well. So this is all clean. Right, with the carb cleaner it will remove the excess like there. So as you can see, this fell onto the floor. Because it fell onto the floor, discard it. You can't use it again. Right? Once that is there, you get your bearing. Okay, so here's your bearing here. On your bearing, you'll see it will have a notch. You can see the notch there. And then on your rod itself, you see it has a notch here. You can see the notch. So obviously this notch will reside into here. Right? And then all you do is you just press the bearing down. I'm going to do this with 2 hands. So with the bearing seated in place, what you want to do is you want to make sure that it's level on this side, level on that side there. Then I like to use red line assembly lube. I don't like to use normal engine oil and so forth. So I'll take some of the red line lube. I'll put the lube on here so that we don't have a dry start initially when we crank the car. So this is all clean like this here. I put it back into the packet, just like this here, so that no dust and so forth can get onto it. The last thing I'll do is I'll lube it. So I wouldn't want to lube it now because I'm still going to go to the crank. When I'm at the crank, I'm still going to clean the crank as well. But what I can do is I can put some assembly lube, my ARP assembly lube, on the crank bolts. So just a little on the crank bolts. So take out 2, put 2 there, and then sort that out. So that will make it easier to insert and no cross threading and so forth. Now I've already used this particular towel. I'm not going to use it on the crank itself. Again, discard it, take a new one, take a new paper towel, and you want to go and clean the crank, and you want to clean the top of the rod as well. So this is the underneath of the S54 motor. You can see number 1, right? And then you can see number 6 is down there as well. So what you're going to do is you're not going to spray your carb cleaner directly onto the crank. You're going to spray it onto your paper towel. You're going to take your paper towel, you're going to wipe here, and then you're going to spray again, and you're going to wipe the inside of the rod, which is sitting there. The rod will always sit away from the crank. It shouldn't dangle on the crank itself. So we did the red bottoms. Now we'll do the blue uppers. You'll see it should say blue upper here. You see? Blue on the top. Take the blues. Blues go to the top. Clean it up and put it on the rod where you just saw me wipe the crank. So before I put it in, I thought I'll just show you guys. So this is how it looks all lubed up. So you don't have a dry start. And then you can see the ARP assembly lube on here. And then remember, these are cracked rods. So you can see the crack on there. It only fits in one way. Meaning that when the rod is made, it's made as one complete rod. And then they physically crack the caps off so that it, basically only fit in one way. Numbers go towards the exhaust side. And yeah, that's it. And you put this back in and put the bolts in. Thing is, don't start off immediately with your ratchet on the rod bolts itself. First hand tighten it like this here, so that you know your fingers are not torque wrenches. So if you are gonna cross thread it, your fingers, you're not gonna cross thread it that bad. So just give this a bit of a hand tighten. There's a 3-step torque process to this thing. So the first one is basically just get it to seat, then it's 5 newtons, then it's 30, and then it's 105 degrees. So yeah, basically that's the process, and we'll do that for the rest of the cylinders. So for your angle of rotation, you need a tool, something like this here. What you would do is you would center it onto the zero itself and get somebody with steady hands to do it. Just to hold it there, you want to anchor it with the magnet side onto a metal object so that it can hold it there. So this will go here, your power bar will go here. As you're turning, that needle will go, and we go into 105 degrees. So we're just about put in the new oil pump. You guys can see the new oil pump. We did a new oil sprocket, new nut, everything is new. New O-ring there for the pickup, as you can focus. So that's pretty much done. We're now going to put back the sump with the new sump gasket on the top. And while we were at it, we decided we're going to do a new water pump thermostat. We'll do O-rings there. But as we started taking the covers off, no matter how clean it looked on the top, here on the side, you can see all the dirt. You can see all the dirt by the oil filter housing. You can also see, there's some build-up here. And we're going to be changing the belt in any case. So what we'll do is we'll take out the belt, and we're going to clean all of these areas here, as well as this old residual oil that's sitting here. Down here at the bottom, clean all of that up so that it looks absolutely brand new. We are here, we might as well do all of this right now. So with the bearings now done, new oil pump at the bottom, new sump gasket as well, we started heading towards the top of the car where we did the new water pump, we did the new thermostat, we replaced the O-rings on the thermostat, we replaced the O-rings on the water pump as well as the gasket on the water pump. We've done all of those stuff. Now we're moving on to the more feel-good items like the spark plugs, the coils, and new belts. So as you can see, new belts are going in, both fan belt as well as the main belt there. We gave this area a good clean, as you guys saw in the previous video how filthy it was. We cleaned it up so it looks absolutely new, and now it's just a matter of time of putting the covers on at the bottom. Once that is done, we'll put in the oil in the car and take it from there. Let's have a look underneath to see how things look in there. So on the underneath of the car, we pretty much all done. We just need to give everything a good clean. We'll clean up the steering rack, clean up the excess oil there at the bottom, clean up here on the subframe, make sure the subframe bolts are all tight, do a double check on the bolts to see if they're all okay. Suspension bushings. What we will do is replace the engine mount on this side and that side, but we'll do that at the later stage. Once the car is on the floor, we'll start it up. We'll have a look to see if everything is there, and then yeah, take it from there and button this thing down. And just like that, the E46 M3 is done. Well, we hope so. We still have to do shocks in it on the car, engine mounts, just to get the driving sensation back to OEM. Let me take you guys through this beautiful example. In my personal opinion, I think one of the cleanest ones I have seen in a very, very, very long time. Yeah, obviously after my detail, it became much more cleaner. So we can see a 2005 E46 M3 sitting on some diamond cuts. Diamond cuts do need a bit of work, but this car is exceptionally clean. So clean that I would even consider keeping this for myself. Look at that beauty. we come over here to the back. I haven't yet cleaned the windows because, as you can see, it's starting to rain. The heavens have opened up upon us. The mercy is descending. So do that tomorrow. But as it looks, or as it stands, we're most probably going to, well, as it stands, we're most probably going to have to wash it again. But yeah, boys, take it all in. Take it all in. Let's have a look on the inside of the boot. Clean. On the inside, you can have a look. Okay, we still need to vacuum it, but yeah, I love the wood grain trim here. This car still smells absolutely clean. It smells like a new car. Pop up the back. Let's come inside. Steering wheel. Oh, check the M stitch. Gear lever. I don't know why it's just a 9-inch dund. That's what they should call it back in the day. Reviews are still good. Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this particular episode. It's been a while. We got a couple of projects on the go. We got that E39 that we're still busy with. We need to sort out the suspension on that one. E36 is getting also another makeover, replacing all the screws on the inside, getting the black screws so that it's not so obvious, getting a brand new roof lining. Yeah, just getting everything right on that particular car. That's a beautiful car to drive, but yeah, restoring an E36 is another headache. But till we meet again, guys, peace.